Hello, this is Roland. Welcome. Today I want to read something to you from the famous psychiatrist, Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor. He survived the concentration camps of World War II. And he became a very famous psychiatrist. And he said something that is so brilliant and so exquisitely true that I want to share it with you, which I have before in blog posts and in other videos, but I want to do it again because it's so good. Now listen, here it is. Viktor Frankl. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time, then we're going to talk about it. Between the stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Okay? Now that is absolutely brilliant. Okay? That kind of sums it up. There's a way of living and moving and having your being that is where you move in your own time and space. You're actually outside of time. And you, in that space, Christ told us about that. He talked about that. Many different ways. I'll try to mention a couple of them. We're told in the Bible to be in the world, but not of the world. Okay? And Christ, when he talked in parables, he said, you know, if someone slaps you, then turn the other cheek. He said, if someone asks for your coat, then give him another coat. If someone asks you to go with him for a while, then go with him for a mile. Forget the exact phraseology. But it's a way of not responding, not reacting to the challenge, but standing back and then responding from within. Okay? So it's beyond. So Viktor Frankl's little sentence, he said, between the stimulus and the response. The stimulus, that's the challenge. That's the tease. Okay. And between that stimulus and your response, there's a little space wherein you have the power to choose. Because in that space, you have freedom. See, as soon as you look, you've all heard, for example, that, you know, when a salesman says, well, or shall we go ahead and close the sale, and hands you the pen and says, go sign on the line. Or whoever responds first is a loser. Whoever reacts first, I'm sure you've heard that. Okay? And you also know that if someone teases you or challenges you, as soon as you react, you're a loser. See? If you react with resentment and say nothing, you're a loser. If you react with anger, you're a loser. If you react with umbrage, see, because you have been drawn into time and space. You've been drawn into the matrix of that tease. Okay, and once drawn in, see, then your energy becomes at its disposal, and it's struck first, so it has priority, and it'll take your energy. That's why bullies get stronger. When the coward The cowards make bullies, okay? Just like bullies make cowards, but a lot of people don't realize that the cowards make the bully. The shaking in their boots and the fear gives energy to the bully. Okay? You have to learn to respond from within. Not in response to the tease, but from within. Okay? So here's a little example. This is the kind of example that I've given many times, but I think you can understand it. Let's say you're a teenager and your mom asks you to take the garbage out. Okay? But she says it in a really mean, bossy way. Okay? Well, there's a tendency to what? To resent your mom. Okay? You resent your mom. See, it could be anybody. You could be an office worker, and the boss asks you to do something, but he asks you or she asks you in a very condescending way. Okay? Or it could be your partner. Your partner asks you to do something, but they ask in a demanding, demeaning kind of a way. I'm just making an example. Okay? So, most people will resent, 99% of the people will resent the demand. And then, but that resentment is the reaction. Okay? And then after that, you have only two choices, conform or, you don't have any choice anymore, really. You conform or rebel. And either way you've fallen. You've fallen into time and space. You've fallen from the moral high ground. The moral high ground is very, very important, very powerful. Very powerful. Okay? But you've fallen from the moral high ground, and now you're resentful. And when you're resentful, don't you feel inferior? It's because you are inferior to that to which you fell. So, someone asks you to do something and you resent it. And then what? Then you do it resentfully. See? Or you rebel and don't do it. You rebel out of anger and resentment. But can you see how both ways you're not free? But here's the way to do it. Somebody asks you to do something, but the tone of their voice is not so good. Okay? Take a mental step back and let a heartbeat go by. Take a step back, let a heartbeat go by. And then if you see that it's wise or right to do what they asked you to do, it's wise, it's proper, or it's right, then go ahead and do it. Not because they told you to, but because you see that it's wise. You see that it's the right thing to do. See? So you're actually moving from within. From within. You see the rightness of it, and so you do it. On the other hand, if someone asks you to do something, and you let a heartbeat go by, okay, and then you see that it's really not your job, or it's not something that you should do, or something like that, then you just say, no, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, in the case, so you see you're free to either do or not do. Okay. You're not under a compulsion. But as soon as you react, usually with resentment, now all of a sudden you've fallen into the realm of compulsivity. You either have to do it resentfully, grudgingly, see, or guiltily, feeling guilt for having resented them. Then you do it to appease the guilt, see, or you rebel and don't do it. See, a lot of people rebel, don't they? A lot of teenagers, they rebel because people have been bossy and they didn't know this little secret. It's actually in a couple of my books. I think it's in Putting the Forever Back in Love. I think it's in that book. A whole chapter. So now you get the idea. So now let's listen to what Viktor Frankl said again. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. Remember what I said? Take a step back, let a heartbeat go by. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. It's absolutely brilliant. So now do you understand what he's saying? This is a real thing. It's very real. You can put this into practice today. Okay? The next time somebody asks you to do something, take a mental step back. Let a heartbeat go by. And then if it's the right thing to do. So in the example of the teenager, his mom asked him to take the garbage out, but she said it in a mean or bossy way. Okay? In the past, he's always been tempted to resent her. Now, he learned this little secret. So she asked him to take the garbage out. He takes a mental step back, and he pauses. And he sees that it's the right thing to do. It's right for him to take the garbage out. Never mind whether his mom asked him in a nice way, or a mean way, or a syrupy sweet way, or a condescending way, or never mind any of that. It's right for him to do so, so he does it. Or he sees that he can do it as a kindness to help his mom, so he does it. Okay? Or it's his duty, so he does it. You see? Not because she told him willfully to do it, but because he sees that it's wise to do so. Then he takes it out. Now, when he takes it out, she'll think that he's doing it because she told him to. Okay? Well, let her think what she will. Doesn't matter. He knows in his heart that he was self-impelled, that he moved from what he saw was wise. Here's another example. You're driving along, and all of a sudden there's something up ahead, and there's a flag person there, with an orange vest, and the flag person directs you to turn. Okay, but the flag person does it in an impatient way. Okay, and so you let a heartbeat go by, and you see that it's the wise thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the law. Okay? So you see that, and so you do. You go ahead and turn as he directed you, because it's the right thing to do. It's the wise thing to do. Okay? Your boss asks you to do something, and you let a heartbeat go by, and then is it the wise thing to do? Okay? Well, it probably is, unless he's asking you to do something wrong, and then if it's wrong, then you say no. But if it's not wrong, then it's probably, most of the time, it is the wise thing to do. So you do it. See how simple? But you're doing it because you see that it's wise. So this is very important. If you get this, once you get it, you say, oh, I get it. Then you can put it into practice. It'll make your life so much better. You become your own person. And that's freedom. There's freedom in moving from within, being self-impelled, self-directed, self-motivated. So you have to learn to take a step back and then move from your own center. Okay? This is so important. Let me read it again. Okay? So you don't miss it. It's brilliant. This is Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. See? So now you ask yourself, okay, do you want to grow as an animal? If you go around reacting, getting angry, becoming resentful, getting your feelings hurt, taking umbrage, see, and then acting, and then angrily rebelling, or doing it angrily or resentfully, or doing it out of guilt because of the resentment. See, in a lot of people, in a lot of families, everything is done out of guilt. Everybody resenting everybody else, and then they do it out of guilt, and it looks like love, but it's out of guilt. Wouldn't it be much better to actually flow from within with real love? See? then you'll be gracious. Okay. I forgot what I was going to say now. But you see, so oh yes, I remember. So ask yourself, do you want to grow as an animal? See, when you react, that's what animals do. They react. They react, and then it's fight or flight or freeze or whatever. They react. And it's perfectly natural for animals to do so. They don't feel guilty. Animal doesn't feel guilty when it reacts. But a human being is not supposed to react. We're supposed to flow from what is wise, from what is right, from what is common sense, from what is fair, which you see within. And then you move, see, in your own time and space. You're your own person. People will respect you. Oh, how people will respect you when you move in your own time and space with strength and grace and patience instead of anger. And your body will be so much happier rather than being upset all the time. So ask yourself, do you want to grow as an animal? Because remember Viktor Frankl talked about growth. So if you keep responding angrily, then you grow as an animal, as a beast. See, and eventually a fatigued beast and a sick beast from all the stress from reacting. And a guilty beast. Or do you want to grow in grace, in wisdom? See, to have an inner person fashioned. See, what's in you now has been fashioned through a life of reacting to tease and challenge. How about a new person inside growing in grace and wisdom and love and patience? And it occurs in that instant, in that moment. See, when the temptation presents itself with a challenge. See, and that's where the rubber meets the road, as the old commercial used to say, one of the tire commercials used to say, where the rubber meets the road. Okay, or that's the nitty-gritty right there. It's another old expression. Okay, where you, it's in that instant. See, and this is so important. See, there aren't enough books in the world to tell you how to react in some delicate moment with your partner or with your child. Okay? But if you can pause for just a moment, take a step back, and then respond from within. See? Then what you say, it'll come from within, it'll just bubble out, and it'll be right. See? So that the pause, the thoughtfulness, the expression on your face, the lack of anger. People will see that, and they'll be profoundly touched. Okay? Now, I got to add one more element to this. If you are like most people, your whole life is built upon resentment. Everything you do is out of resentment or out of guilt for being resentful. Okay? So now you need to get my meditation. You need to get it. You understand what I just said. You follow this video. You understand the principle. But you have to apply it. It won't do any good to see this video, to hear what I say, to read Viktor Frankl. See, won't do you any good at all unless you apply it. Okay? And so, to apply it, see, what happens to you now is that things sneak up on you. See, you're so distracted. You're lost in your imagination, worrying about tomorrow, reliving the past. Or you're lost in your texting and lost in planning this and planning that and daydreaming and video games. You're just totally lost, and things sneak up on you. See, things sneak up on, and you're not in a good space. You're lost in your imagination. There's something, and then you react. And then after you react, you think, oh, what did I do that for? Then you try to smooth everything over. Or you go around all day reacting. Then at nighttime you're all tense, and then you try to work it off in the gym or drink alcohol or something like that to try to ease the symptoms of having overreacted all day. So what you need to do now is to learn to meditate. With my meditation, it's so simple. You can learn it in 2 minutes. Okay? And to start the day with a little bit of meditation, and then during the day at different times. I make it very simple. I show you how you can do the full meditation. Or as the day proceeds, you can, as you're walking around or what have you, can be aware of your hands. It helps to remind you of that nice meditative state. And you go out in the world, okay, now you'll have more awareness. And now when a situation comes along, a moment with a co-worker or your partner or your child or something, now you have that awareness, okay? And they say something or something comes up and you pause just a moment, then you respond from within. Now, I need to add one little thing to it, and that is this. As I said, your whole life has been composed of resentment, so now what's going to happen? Okay, which it's always been happening, but you just didn't see it. Now you'll see it. Now if you get the little meditation that I have, it's free. It's called the Easy Meditation, the free meditation. And then you have more awareness, and you go out in the world, and then here comes some situation. Okay, then what you're going to see is resentment rising. You're going to see it, because that's what you always did in the past. Okay, so after a whole lifetime of conditioning, there's the resentment. So now what you do is you just watch it. Okay, so there's a situation. You take a step back, let a heartbeat go by, there's the resentment, and you watch it also. Okay, then it passes, and then you respond with what comes forth from within. See? Or if anger rises, okay, there's the anger. Okay, and you watch it. Or maybe, see, because you're so used to being angry all the time, situation arises, you try to get some objectivity a little bit, you have a little bit of it, because you've been meditating, but then anger comes out. It's there and it has to bubble, it'll bubble out. So you say something and maybe what you say is right, but the anger comes out with it. Then all you have to do is say, I'm sorry about the anger, but I'm still right about what I said. See? I'm sorry about the anger, but I'm still right about what I said. Okay? So you see how simple that is? And if you blow it, if something comes along and you respond resentfully or angrily, well, then you see it. Okay, so you didn't get it quite right. Well, okay, you didn't. Well, it's a learning thing, see? Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to become a saint. Be content to become a regular person instead of an angry beast, angry judgmental beast. So you didn't get it right. So you say, I'm sorry, I apologize. I was angry. I was out of order. See? See how simple that is? You're honoring the truth thereby. And they see that also. See? You're honoring the truth. Truth is more important. It's not who's right, it's what is right. Okay? So, this video is a little longer than I had intended. It's a beautiful quote. There's a lot of wisdom in it. And you must apply it in your life. You must apply it. Learn to apply it. Okay? My name is Roland.